Okay, so what I want to do here is show you how to create a scatter plot graph to try and demonstrate whether or not there is a correlation between two variables. So what I've got here is a sheet of data where you've got the height of individuals, their vital capacity, which is basically the amount of air that they can hold in their lungs in liters, and then also some data on the circumference of their flexed bicep, and that's also in centimeters. So what I want to do is I want to show you how you would determine whether or not there is a correlation between height and vital capacity. You kind of have to do these things two at a time. So I'm going to show you how to graph this. So the first thing you want to do is click and highlight the data. Okay. Note that you do not want to highlight the words. That's going to mess everything up. So just highlight the numbers. Okay. We'll fill in the words later. Over here, you've got your chart possibilities. So you want to insert chart. Now, what you want to do is under the chart types, you don't want to make a line graph. Okay. Try to avoid that. You want to make a scatter plot. I'm going to go ahead and click this. And there you can see the data is plotted quite nicely there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and insert this and move it over here. Okay, so we can see what's going on. Now, what you want to do is you need to title your graph and put axes labels on there and all there. So if you go under the quick edit mode, oh no, sorry, we're in the quick edit mode. If you go in under the advanced mode, advanced edit, that's going to allow us to do all kinds of things. So it's going to open this up and you can see you can scroll through here and there's all kinds of things you can change if you want. The minimum things that you want to do is add a title. So this is the relationship between height and vital capacity. So there's my title. I'm going to scroll down here and add a title to the horizontal axis. So you see our title comes up here. My horizontal axis is height, and you've got to add the units. It's centimeters. I can change this to the vertical axis and add a title there, which is vital capacity. And that's in liters. All right. The other thing that you want to do is scroll down all the way to the bottom and add a trend line to your data. Now, what we want to do for these particular graphs where we're looking for a correlation, we want to be able to put just a linear trend line on. Even if the data is all over the place, put a linear trend line on it. Okay? And if you scroll down a little bit further, you can ask it to show the R squared value, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So this is a pretty decent looking graph overall. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and update that, and it's right here. Now, in terms of interpreting, you can look to the R squared value. An R squared value of 0 is going to be a straight line. Okay, and the closer it gets to 1, the stronger the correlation. So in this case, we see because the line slopes up like this, it is a positive correlation between height and vital capacity. So in other words, as people get taller, their vital capacity increases as well. And it's a pretty strong correlation because it's got an R squared value of 0.865. So that's a good indicator that the two are correlated with one another. Now, if I wanted to do the same thing over with the circumference of a flexed bicep, so I want to say, hey, look, do taller people have bigger biceps? I would highlight this, and then holding down the command key on an Apple keyboard, you can click and drag and just highlight this data. And you can go ahead and do the exact same thing. Now, I've gone ahead and done that down below, so I can show you the graph here. So again, this is a relationship between the height of a person and their bicep circumference. Okay, so you've got the proper labels here. And as you can see, the data is all over the place. And I've gone ahead and drawn a linear trend line. Okay, this one slopes down, so if anything, it's a negative correlation. But you really have to look at the R-squared value. It's 0.031, which is very, very close to zero. And you can tell just by looking at the data that it's scattered about. There really is no strong correlation between height and bicep circumference. And if you've ever met me, you can understand why that is. So I hope that's helpful and you can have fun making your own graphs.